Thank you and welcome, members of the Tampa Sales and Marketing Council. We are excited to offer you a hybrid in-person and virtual event this year. Considering the busy housing market, these virtual events allow for us to all connect and provide you with helpful information and perspective while preserving your valuable time. Before we jump into the program, let's take a moment to recognize and thank all of our annual sponsors. OfferPad, Lennar, WCI, Caliber Home Loans, Park Square Homes, Mattamy Homes, Taylor Morrison, Hillsborough Title, Gray Street Architectural Photography, Homes by West Bay, Tampa Builder Guide, Bexley, Waterset, Marie and Deborah from Keller Williams, the Laker Lutz News, and Sherwin-Williams. Now, with us today is our platinum sponsor, Mike Southworth from OfferPad. Mike, thank you for your support.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Lauren. It's a pleasure to be here in front of the team. Everybody's starting off the year with a bang, and it's great to see. I'll be real brief. Just want to reintroduce the advantages of using OfferPad to help your customers buy your homes. There's six great advantages to OfferPad. First and foremost, your customers get up to 9 months to close on their home. So they could purchase today, to be built today that's not even permitted, and you get that home built in 9 months, we'll still close with them. And even with that, we are very flexible. Just let us know a couple of days beforehand. If you get the home done sooner, we can close then. If it's another month after that, we can close. Likewise, we can close in as little as 15 days. We had a great opportunity at the end of November to help out one of our builder clients. That had a customer come to them with 2 weeks left in the month. Their buyer fell through on their home. They didn't know what to do. They were going to have to close on their new builder home. We were able to help them out. We came in, got them under contract, and closed on the home in less than 12 days. We only charge 5% fees to clients that come to us from our builder partners. So that's a huge advantage. Like, they also get a 5-day post-possession. So they could close on a home on Tuesday and not have to move out of the home until Saturday or Sunday the following weekend. So if you have a quarter in or a month in my background in building, I know this happens, and you need that closing, with OfferPad under contract with that seller, we can close on the home, and again, they can stay in the home for up to 5 days afterwards. We offer a 3% referral fee to all realtors. So if you have a realtor come to you with a client that needs to sell their home, have them refer them to OfferPad. They'll still get their 3% referral fee, and they can focus on helping their client buy their new home with you. Our geographic area goes up to Spring Hill, Northport to the south, and Winter Haven to the east, and of course, everywhere pretty much in between. And then lastly, Mike Finley is our building service manager for the state of Florida. Mike can be reached at the number and email here. Again, that's kind of the elevator speech for OfferPad. I appreciate y'all allowing us to talk a little bit. Anybody has any other questions, please feel free to reach out privately to Mike, and he'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank you all.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry about that. My video wouldn't come back on. Yes, thank you again to all of our sponsors.
Thanks. Thank you. Hey, everybody. This is Lauren Morgan. Appreciate you all being on the call today. Today, we will hear how Hillsborough County is staying competitive to attract businesses, individuals, and families. Our executive contributors will be speaking towards upcoming transportation plans, attractions, events, healthcare, shipping, jobs, cost of living, and housing. We'll take questions for the contributors at the end of the program. Please utilize the question and answer feature to submit your questions at the bottom toolbar. And please say hello in the chat feature to stay connected and comment throughout the program. I'd first like to introduce Karen Kress, who is one of our 4 event contributors and serves as the Director of Transportation and Planning at the Tampa Downtown Partnership. Karen manages all aspects of transportation, parking, and access throughout downtown Tampa. A true advocate for transit and transportation, Karen leads Tampa Downtown Partnership's Transportation and Urban Design Committees. Karen has been successful in bringing transportation options such as Coast Bike Share, Zipcar Car Share, and the Downtowner, an app-based electric ride service, which we've all probably utilized. Thank you, Karen. What's up in Hillsborough?
Thank you, Lauren. Let me take a second to share my screen. So I did warn the Builders Association that I'm going to be pretty downtown centric, but they said that that was okay. So just kind of knowing in advance that that's my slant. But first off, I wanted to kind of talk about who is the Tampa Downtown Partnership, just a minute, in case you're not aware. We are a nonprofit organization. A lot of people think that we're part of the city. We actually have a contract with the city that we renew every year with through Tampa City Council. Been around for a while. Also a membership organization like, a chamber or Visit Tampa Bay. I bet all of you have a different definition of where you think downtown is. These are our legally defined boundaries. They do shift every so often based on some interest from, an adjoining neighborhood who'd like to take advantage of our services. But this is where we provide them now. So what kind of services does the partnership do? Of course, I'm going to focus on the transportation and planning aspect of it, but we also have, teams that are probably our most visible program are our guides and our clean team that are out there on the streets 7 days a week, making sure people, don't get lost, can find their parked car, making sure you don't step in gum, removing graffiti, trash, etc. We also do a lot of placemaking based initiatives where we paint intersection murals, working closely with the city on that. We do a lot of programming in the parks. We do fitness classes in the parks almost every day. Once we get to a time where we can have events again, we'll start doing those. So let's delve into the transportation and planning aspect of it, which is the angle that I was asked to cover. So just a quick overview of ways to get around in our downtown. As mentioned, we have the Coast Bike Share program along with the electric scooters. You will see a change in that. I'm guessing probably late spring where you're going to see maybe some different or new providers and a broader number of vehicles that are on offer. We also have, if you work or live in downtown Tampa, there's a chance that you're well served by transit because downtown is kind of their main hub. So transit is certainly something to look at for people. Zipcar is a car share service where if you don't have a car or you're maybe a one-car family, you just rent this car by the hour when you need one. Pirate Water Taxi, the photo on the lower right, that's a hop-on, hop-off water taxi service with something like, I think, 15 different stops around downtown, obviously on the water. The Tico Line Streetcar, about 2.5 years ago, the Florida Department of Transportation helped infuse some more funding into that, which allowed it to go fare free. It allowed it to have longer hours and more frequent service. Once that happened, ridership tripled. So we're hopeful that that can continue. Uber, Lyft are a way to get around the downtown. And then I had to include walking with my little smiley face because I think people often forget that, especially in downtown where we have sidewalks on both sides of the road and drivers who are expecting to see, pedestrians and activity, you can walk just about anywhere in 10 or 15 minutes. It's a pretty compact downtown with small block sizes. I did want to take a second to brag about one of our kind of high profile projects. It's called the Downtowner Service. It's an electric ride program that's only within our boundaries of our district. And it's basically you put in the app where you are and where you want to go, and it'll take you there. So if you haven't used that, I encourage you to check it out. Part of my job is to encourage people to think outside of their car. So I do talk to them about different commuting options that are available. I point out to them that HART now has an app called One Bus Away that I believe was developed out of USF Qatar. And that tells you where your bus is. So it takes that mystery out of when is my bus coming. Flamingo Fares is a new program. It's regional. It allows you to pay for your bus fares through your smartphone and then just tap that when you get onto the bus. So no more trying to dig around for change. Park Mobile is a way to pay for your on-street or sometimes off-street parking through an app. So you don't have to carry a bunch of coins with you. Hopefully you know about the Bay Ferry. That's seasonally operated. It's going on right now. And we get the boat from New England when they don't need it up in the winter. And that runs between downtown Tampa and downtown St. Pete. Both destinations make a great day trip. The ferry rides do sell out, so I encourage you to book your trip in advance. Wanted to brag about our bicycle friendly business program. It's a national program administered out of Washington, D.C. And as of late January, Tampa is now #1 in the entire nation for the number of bicycle friendly businesses that are certified. The lion's share of them are in downtown because we've made a special effort to recruit, but any of your businesses would be eligible. If you want more information on that, certainly reach out. And then I had to throw in the Virgin Trains logo. Some of you will remember it as Brightline. When they finally get to Tampa, from the median of I-4 from Orlando, they do plan to land with their station somewhere in the downtown area, and that's still being worked out. That'll be an exciting opportunity. Of course, we have to bring up parking if you're talking about downtown transportation, my favorite topic, she says sarcastically. The P word, right? But it is an important topic, and it really does touch a lot of different things. So several years ago, we realized that we really needed to do a comprehensive look at parking. So we created a downtown parking plan, obviously worked very closely with the city, with the parking operators. We had a bunch of different stakeholder groups. But one of the first moves we made was to literally go out and find where all the parking is. And then we've gone back several times, including now on an annual basis, where we do occupancy counts. So we go to every single parking lot and every single parking garage, and we count how many cars are and aren't there at different times of the day, different times of the week, et cetera. Because when we first started this plan, 9 out of 10 people's answer to the parking problem was the city needs to build a new parking garage. But really what we found is that we actually have plenty of parking. It's just maybe not exactly at people's doorstep where they want it, or we're just not sharing it well. So, we have a lot of pressure on the on-street parking spaces, while there's hundreds and hundreds of off-street spaces just sitting there empty. So we need to really do a better job of utilizing what we have. We've also looked at how much parking is required for new development, and that's something that we might want to talk more about with this group down the road. There will be a workshop, I believe, in April at City Council to look at those numbers. So what's next? We keep a tracking of all the development we have in our downtown. Thankfully, it's continued to be a pretty robust market, and we are constantly adding more squares to that list. You may have heard that there is a plan, basically a shovel-ready plan at this point to both extend and modernize the streetcar. The route has been chosen. It basically, the next leg will go from the station that's at Fort Brooke currently. That's kind of the downtown end of the line. It will go up Florida Avenue and turn on Palm, where the Central City Y is, and then basically come back down Tampa Street. From there, there's lots of opportunities for it to continue north, continue west toward the airport, continue east to East Tampa, maybe back to Ybor. So hopefully this is just, we're continuing on that leg. I will take a pause here to let you know that when you're trying to attract federal and state money for big projects like this, you really need to have some local money in it. Just learned about an hour ago that the Florida Supreme Court did overturn the All for Transportation sales tax referendum that was passed by 57% of the voters, I believe it was, in Hillsborough County. So maybe a quick moment of silence for that. So things like streetcar extension, I don't know where we get the local funding to attract the federal funding and state funding. The Florida Department of Transportation has already said they'll put in their 25%. So that money is solid and sitting there, but if we can't find a match for it locally, I'm not sure what happens with projects like this. So that doesn't mean we're giving up, but it just means that we have a lot of work to do and probably another referendum to look forward to. My guess would be 2022. I'm sure that others on the panel will probably comment more. Some good news though, Tampa did receive a federal build grant that's going to allow us to basically finish the Riverwalk. So we'll be able to build kind of what's going to be on the west side, but almost as important, you can see some of the lines on the map here. These are connections, kind of bike ped connections that will allow people to safely get to the Riverwalk. And there's even been some talk about a pedestrian only bridge potentially. So that's something we have to look forward to. I thought it might be helpful for me to list out some of the kind of alphabet soup here and who are the different organizations that get involved in transportation projects and planning. So I'll just start at the top. The Florida Department of Transportation, obviously their headquarters is up in Tallahassee, and then the state is divided into different different groups of there's usually several counties in each one. So our district is District 7, and that includes, I believe, 5 counties that surround Hillsboro. There's also the Tampa Bay Regional Transit Authority, or TBARTA. There is some talk right now in the state legislature about potentially abolishing TBARTA. So that's kind of an interesting story for you to follow and maybe form your own opinion on that. But they're really the only group that their charter is to do regional transit planning, but they don't actually run any systems themselves at this time. We also have a countywide organization called Plan Hillsboro, which is a joint group between the Planning Commission and the Metropolitan Planning Organization. We're all doing a much better job of really linking that land use and those transportation discussions into the same topic. So those two organizations cover kind of the, helping to set our transportation priorities and then prioritizing some of the funding that goes along with that. Hopefully you're familiar with HART, the Hillsborough Area Regional Transit Authority. They are our county's bus service. Our county transit system is woefully underfunded. HART does the best they can with the limited dollars they receive. There's some really interesting stats that compare what we spend on transit compared to some of the other places with more robust systems, and it's shameful. In Pinellas, same thing, transit agency over there, PSTA. The transit agencies, there was some talk a few years ago about potentially combining them into one, but the two groups decided they're better off each serving their own county, but then coordinating as much as possible. Locally, we have the Tampa Hillsborough Expressway Authority, or THIA. They operate the Selman, some of you may still call it the Crosstown Expressway. And then they have some plans right now in place, including a public meeting tonight about some expansion. Not a whole lot of additional width, but potentially adding more lanes in certain areas. You have Hillsborough County and the city of Tampa, that have their own transportation priorities. And then you may not be aware, but we do have a pretty well nationally known research group at USF called the Center for Urban Transportation Research, otherwise known as CUTR, and they do a lot of kind of planning work here. This is, I think, my last slide, and I wanted to just bring to your attention a couple of the studies that are going on right now that I thought you might find interesting. So I mentioned earlier the Cross Bay Ferry, that is really kind of a tourism market right now between the two downtowns. There's been discussed for a long time, and it seems like it's finally getting some legs about having commuter ferry service that would run from South County to MacDill Air Force Base. And then when the boat wasn't needed for commute times, it could go back to serving kind of more of those tourism markets. I'm told there could be stops in not only the downtowns, but Safety Harbor, West Shore area. So waterborne transportation is an area that we really haven't explored, but it is congestion proof and something I think is worth looking at. Regional rapid transit. This is a study that TBARTA has been working on for a few years. They're working closely with the Florida Department of Transportation. This kind of ties in with the Tampa Bay Next Interstate Expansion project, because basically what it would be doing is taking a lane of the interstate and dedicating it to transit only. So it would finally give you, if you're riding transit, it would really give you a time advantage, which would make it probably a much easier choice to make. And that would run the whole way from Wesley Chapel, downtown, West Shore, the whole way into downtown St. Pete. So that's something that is being studied and looked at on the horizon. The Florida Department of Transportation is trying to figure out where all of these kind of big, train and bus transfer centers could be. They're called intermodal centers or multimodal centers sometimes. So you may remember a couple years ago, they purchased the DoubleTree Hotel and Charlie's Steakhouse site. That's the chosen location for the intermodal center in the West Shore area. We have one downtown right now that's sometimes called the old jail site. It's right now a 300 space parking lot. It's called the Scott Street lot. It's up right by Marion Transit Center. That's kind of our holding place for an intermodal center. However, with the conversations happening with all the new development in Ybor at Tampa Park Apartments, and the fact that we have Union Station with Amtrak running out of it, and we'll see where Virgin Trains wants their station. So those conversations are a bit fluid. There's some active conversation up in the USF area around the Florida and Nebraska and Fowler corridor. Could be put in an intermodal center there. And then I think there's maybe 1 or 2 other locations that are being looked at. HART is currently looking at something called Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT. You probably have heard that acronym before. And they're looking at basically the Florida-Nebraska corridors, a trip between downtown and USF Wesley Chapel. PSTA is a little bit ahead of us. They actually were able to attract some federal funds, and their bus rapid transit is it's called Sunrunner. It's going to run between downtown St. Pete and the beaches. So they actually have their funding in place for it. That was a lot of organizations, ours included, wrote support letters, trying to make that a high priority for our region. Lots of room for expansion over there. HART is also doing a transit-oriented development, TOD. You may have heard that term. And that is basically trying to figure out where some bus stations could go, and then what kind of development could be supportive right around that. So that's another interesting ongoing study. T-BART is also doing an innovative transit technology. They got some money from the state legislature to do that. The photo in the bottom left is an aerial transportation. That's one of the things that they're looking at. So kind of, what's next? What's our transportation going to evolve into? And then lastly, some small area circulators. I talked about the downtowner service, but I know that the USF area and the West Shore area also want to have some kind of circulation just kind of within those districts. So HART is taking a look at those. So that was my last slide. I know this was a whirlwind tour focused on downtown, but hopefully you learned a few things, and I'll stay around for questions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Karen. Our next contributor is Bob Warlock. Bob serves as the president and CEO of the Tampa Bay Chamber, the voice of business for the Tampa Bay area. He leads the Chamber's mission to serve our members and enhance the community by building business success. The Tampa Bay Chamber is the Florida Association of Chamber Professionals 2020 Chamber of the Year, large chamber category, which is quite an accomplishment in the year of 2020. Welcome, Bob. What's up in Hillsboro?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I am Bob Warlock with the Tampa Bay Chamber, and I'm going to share my screen just to show you a couple things, just to kind of whet your appetite, and then hopefully can answer questions more down the road. As you look at this, this is our 10-year vision plan, Vision 2026. This is what we look at for every board meeting, including the one we had this morning, that the organization stands on organizational excellence for our chamber, but the 3 pillars are how we look at every issue we deal with in the community. Catalyst, we are a catalyst for change in our community to make this a better place to work and live for all of us. That we are the hub for business, where businesses come together to work on the issues in our community and also build and grow their network together. For example, Karen, who you just heard from with the Downtown Partnership, they're part of an organization that we've worked with to come together. We call them the Memorandum of Understanding organizations, with the Downtown Partnership, West Shore Alliance, South Tampa Chamber, LGBTQ Chamber, Brandon Chamber, Ybor, North Tampa Bay up in Pasco County, the Indo-US Chamber, the Riverview Chamber, and the Uptown Chamber, all of us coming together to work to make sure we're coordinating our efforts to get a better end result for the entire region. And the center pillar, that we are an inclusive organization, that all businesses feel they can be a part of what's going on in our community and are welcome here. And part of that, we did a study about 5 years ago, an economic study that showed about 49% of the privately owned businesses in Hillsborough County were Black or Hispanic owned, which is a great statistic. Unfortunately, they contribute 5% to the economy, which documented for us the old saying that a rising tide lifts all boats is no longer true in our economy. So we worked hard to lean in to have a more inclusive economy here in our area. And we started that with our Minority Business Accelerator program that we started about 5 years ago, that works to help minority businesses grow and succeed in a 2-year mentoring program that we work with them on. And then we ask them to come back and help mentor businesses that'll be going through the program after them. But some statistics I want to point you all to, and all of this can be found on our website, tampabaychamber.com. But the Florida scorecard, if you go to tampabaychamber.com and then about us and under the news, you'll see COVID information. And we have a lot of information on COVID support, but this is some data that talks about the current information of what's happening in our state. We work with the Florida Chamber of Commerce on this. If it's green, it's a good indicator. Red, bad indicator. Gray, it's holding stable to what is expected. But you can see on this information, talk about 28% of the state's land is in conservation. Population of over 21 million, which when I worked for the state years ago was 12 million. So our state continues to grow rapidly. A lot of miles being traveled in our state, and housing, state housing starts and sales. It's improving, which is good, but we need to continue to work on it. Overall sales, starts is improving, sales declining for the state. And just more information that goes in to all of this, going through high-speed communication, which is important for education. 96% of the state, which is actually not going in the direction they want to see it going. The goal by 2030 is to see 100% coverage. Some other information looking under business climate. Come on, there we go. You can see some of the information ranking into how we're ranked 4th, goals to get to number 1. Jobs are increasing, which is good. Unemployment is going down, which is also good. Now, this is at the state level. You can dig down to the county level. This is Hillsborough County. And on the website, you can pick any county you want to take a look at. But COVID cases are increasing. Daily average still increasing in Hillsborough County. The weekly percent, while it's increasing at 8.55%, I remember back in early summer, late May, late spring, USF Health was saying they hoped our county would cap out at about 6% positive rate. So obviously we far exceeded that, but hopefully with the vaccine continuing to spread and more vaccines coming online, we can see that starting to change. On the employment level, unemployment is decreasing, which is obviously a good sign. We're still down over 31,000, almost 32,000 from we were last year. And again, more information on unemployment. Housing permits are improving, continue to see if we see more and more people moving to our area. Sales tax revenue is going up, which is good. And just high school graduation rates, 88%, which is improving, but doesn't really hit the mark of where we want to see things continuing to go. And on quality of life, just to get another example to show some of the things that are going on. Poverty rate, 14.6%. It's getting better, but that's still a very high rate. Child poverty rate, almost 20%, but it's decreasing, which is good as well. You can see some of the housing costs, but the burden, almost 50%, which is very high. The goal is 30%, but it's continuing to go down. And you just can follow these other stats and see what's happening in the area and the issues that are going on in our community. And again, all this can be found at tampabaychamber.com. I'll stop sharing. There we go. But a lot of what we've been working on, as Karen mentioned, the transportation tax being denied is a huge kick in the shins for our community. We have been communicating with our elected officials for years, including through 2020, when transportation issues seemed to go down some, that the solution for our transportation problems is not a pandemic. Now more than ever, we need to be leaning in and improving our transportation. It's vital that we get some multimodal choices. Karen talked about a lot of them impacting downtown and the surrounding area. We need to work on that throughout the entire region. And that's where we come together with our legislative delegation for the entire Bay Area. And we talk to them about, while they each have districts to work with, and some may be more one county centric over another, they need to be thinking regionally and acting locally and working to hold each other accountable to try to improve our transportation needs. As we continue to grow with population, the transportation problems are only going to continue to grow as well. And we need to be focusing on that. Any solution we put in place now is going to take decades to feel. So we have to be working on these issues. The news just came down today that Karen mentioned on the transportation tax being struck down. Where we go from here is yet to be determined, but it's going to have to be worked on. And something to look at, any law in the books can be picked at long enough. You can find something that's not quite right with this. This was a technical issue that threw this out, and we need to come back and see how we can improve this to bring it in. Another issue we work on heavily at our chamber is how to keep young, smart people in this community. We started a program last year called Collegiate Leadership Tampa Bay, modeled after our Leadership Tampa Bay program, one of the top programs in the country. And we take students from USF, UT, and St. Leo University and put them through an abbreviated version of our leadership program. The applicant pool has gone up tremendously from the schools. We just picked our next class yesterday. They haven't been informed yet. And it's a great way to keep that smart talent here. The business people that work with us on the program get to meet those students, get to see those best and brightest that want to learn more about their community, and it helps to retain them with what's going on. We also work to keep the exiting military personnel here in our community. There's some terrific skill sets that are coming out from MacDill, and we want to make sure we keep the ones here who want to stay in this community that don't have family to go to in another part of the state, or they just fall in love with our area, which we all know is easy to do. And we have several different programs. We work through our Military Affairs Committee to keep them here through spouse employment, exiting strategies, interview strategies. We have a program called Operation Partnership, which I invite you all to participate in. We do that twice a year. One time of the year, military personnel will shadow with you for the day and see what employment in the private sector is like and how it works. The next time we do it, private sector employers will shadow a military personnel person for the day and see their world to try to understand the transition and what that's about. A lot of times we see resumes from our military personnel that we know is some tremendous skill set, some tremendous training, but we don't know how to translate it into the civilian world. So we try to work with them to help translate that, to make it easier for them with what they're wanting to do and how they're transitioning through. We also work with different areas on affordable housing and workforce housing, both for military as well for the entire community. There's some great plans in place in our area to try to have more affordable housing and that workforce housing closer to the work employment areas, but it's something we need to continue to work on. As we are seeing more people moving into the area, you all know the housing market is exploding. Realtors are telling us that they have people who want to buy, they just don't have product. People who are interested in selling their homes to move to another one are hesitant because they can't find that other house to move to. So it's a real issue we need to be working on in this market. If we're going to continue to be an attractive area, we have to make sure that housing is something people can work within. Also, we have a very strong advocacy area. Nick Glover, our Vice President for Advocacy, leads that. We focus on local, state, and federal advocacy. It's harder now during COVID to get in front of our elected officials during their meeting sessions, but they're working closely with us. We just had our legislative kickoff where we had over a dozen legislators from the Bay Area, all in an online fashion with different meeting rooms where people could come and go just like they would at a networking session and listen to what the priority issues are, as well as share what each individual's priority issues are with them. It's our second year we've done it this way. It's proven to be very successful. And our legislative agenda is also available on our website, tampabaychamber.com, where you can learn more about what we're working on. We encourage you all to learn the different things we're focused on and how we're trying to make this a better environment. The way we explained it is our job is to work with our government officials and our partner organizations to make this the best environment for businesses to want to be here. And then through the tourism folks and through the Tampa Bay EDC, they're working to get people to want to move here. So we want their story to be the best story it can be. And it's a lot of that partnering together that makes that possible. We're always looking for new ideas and new ways we can be growing the organization and focusing our efforts on what we're working on. Today at our board meeting, we did our second diversity, equity, and inclusion training with the board, with our top tier members. And we'll have 2 more sessions just trying to get our members to think more inclusively in their organizations so we all can have the strongest economy we can have here in this area. And the more we work on that, the better we'll all be working on that together. So happy to entertain questions later on, but that's a quick overview of the issues we're working on and where we're focused.
Thanks, Bob. Our next contributor is Rob Rosner. Rob serves as the Director of Economic Opportunity for the City of Tampa. Rob leads the city's economic development efforts and spearheads multiple development and redevelopment projects throughout the city. Since 2015, Rob has overseen many public projects, including the renovations of the Convention Center, public improvements to multiple parks and streetscapes, the Water Street Tampa Master Infrastructure Project, the Sail Plaza, multiple Riverwalk improvements, and the district-wide projects in the Channel District, which all had tons of people for the Super Bowl, which is awesome. Good work, Rob. What's going on in Hillsboro?
Lots of good things. I'll give you some updates on some of the ones you mentioned there. Water Street will have about 3 new buildings coming online this year, staggered about 2-3 months apart. We're working with them to wrap up their final portions of their permitting. They're having to finish their public realm piece, which is the streetscape between, the road work that's been planned. We're starting the phase 3 planning for that, which is everything north of Cumberland, which is the old flour mill site. A big piece of that was to have the Cumberland punch through to the Channel District completed before Super Bowl. And that happened in time. And if you haven't driven it, you need to do that. It's a really strong connection. And as they finish up the other public realm pieces of it, it's going to be a lot better. It'll have a 2-way cycle track on it, contraflow. It'll connect to the Meridian Greenway, and it'll also connect to the Selman Greenway. So it's very exciting to see these kinds of connections happening, and as we plan them and to build those into the development. If you haven't heard, Ybor South is being proposed by Darrell Shaw and Kettler. That's for the old Tampa Park Apartments. That actually covers 3 different CRAs in some area in the city, and it has its challenges, and they're working through a lot right now, and they've been sharing some of their plans as we to some of our CACs, and I'm sure you've seen it in the news and some of the other forums online that share that kind of information. In Tampa Heights, the Heights Union buildings are complete and they're almost all full. One of the biggest new tenants we've had was Pfizer made their announcement of coming here, which is a Fortune 100 company. So they should be moving in a number of people by October. We're helping them with their permitting process to get that space fitted out for their new employees. They'll be hiring around 50 new employees locally, besides the ones they'll be relocating here. Most of the people that are relocating in this phase is financial in nature. So the bean counters, as I say. So, and then of course, Midtown out near West Shore area, Del Mabry, they're wrapping up construction and should be open here soon. And we're excited to see that happening. That was a major investment there. The next one that's getting a lot of press and time is the Uptown District, the Innovation District. They did brand it as Rhythm, and working with Mark Sharp and his team about taking those to the next steps and getting their strategic action plan completed and finding ways to continue to fund the pieces that need to happen for that. So those are some exciting projects that are happening on that we all know about. The hotel market was very strong in 2019, and a number of projects continued on, like the JW Marriott completed. We do have a number of hotels that took a little break but are coming back and going to finish the projects that they had planned. One of those will be Spring Hill Suites at the corner of Tampa in the future Harrison Street, which is part of that project, is for them to punch Harrison Street through from Franklin to Tampa. That's part of the deal that goes there. The Henry, which is the new student housing that's by UT, that'll be complete by I believe this fall. I think they'll be having students in there. I took a tour of that. They've got a good amount of work to finish, but I think they'll do it. Then other just regular projects that are happening is the Channelside Drive project. Had been planned for a long time, and we're starting construction on that already. We're doing a lot of preliminary work right now out there. You probably will see some trucks out there, tearing up the road in some areas and doing some utility investigations before they, dig in. The convention center is working on an expansion right now. I'd worked on the previous renovations, and we took a break during COVID and did some repair during that time. And now we're moving forward with Skanska to put an expansion onto the river, over the Riverwalk from the convention floor, and add 2 floors. We'll have 18 new meeting rooms with that, and then a number of other improvements throughout the area, throughout the building, like a new service elevator, reorganizing some of the meeting rooms to be more conducive, and then a number of renovations. One of our first renovation projects was to redo 164 of the 194 restrooms in the facility. So we were able to get those done, and now we're working on a lot of COVID things that became a focus for us, because the convention center was used for basically City Hall for a while, for council chambers and that sort of thing. Now that we're starting to get back in business and trying to get our customers back, we're trying to finish those projects up and do that. So as she mentioned before, the Sail Plaza, it was a project that we finished in late 2019, and that was a visionary project to create a bookend for the History Center. Also on Water Street, History Center is at one end of Old Water Street, which is now just Water Street. And we needed something that really tied you to the water. So we put the Sail Plaza there and made that an iconic place. And it's proven to be so with all the watch parties that happen there and the different civic events that happen there. That's the kind of interaction we wanted to build into downtown, so that it became a destination in that area, not just the people wanted to, drink at the Sail Bar. We wanted it to be a plaza space and to become a civic space. So besides just doing some of the watch parties, it becomes a very active space, even in the non-serving times of that area. We also did a number of improvements to the Riverwalk. Ones that was completed was a new ramp over there at part of the Sail Plaza to make it a lot safer for bicyclists to get up and down, as well as make it wide enough that people can pass each other without, causing a clog. Speaking of Riverwalk, over there by the Straws, we did an expansion of the Riverwalk, where if you've ever been over by the Straws, you'd have to walk through the plaza and walk around the fountain. Now you can follow the river completely. There's a new 12-foot sloping walk with rails and a great view out to the water. And it's a highly used space. And now that a lot of that's done, we're trying to get the proper signage to let people know it's there. So those are just a few of the projects. The ones that are coming up is we're working with a related group right now in the West River development for 44 acres to replace the housing that was taken out from the North Boulevard homes. That's still going very well. The city continued to own another 18 acres, which we just recently put out for an RFP back in October. And we closed that in December, and we're in the process right now of reviewing the top proposals for that. We should have that done in a month or so. So very exciting times. The Rome Yard project's going to be a mixed use, mixed income, affordable housing. We're going to require 20% of it to be 80% of AMI as an affordable unit space, and then another 40% for 140% AMI for workforce housing, and then the remainder can be for market rate. So we're excited to have those kinds of projects coming online. There are other projects we're planning, but just taking some time to get those off the ground. There is a focus in northern downtown to help with improving that area and doing a lot for trying to incorporate the mayor's T3 objectives, or transforming Tampa's tomorrow, and try to incorporate affordable housing in all the new projects, and see if we can get people to start converting some of the market rate stuff and and add an affordability component to it if we were offering some incentives. So one of the incentives that we're looking at right now is a parking incentive reduction if you include so much affordable housing, and that's still going through the workshop process right now. And Carol Post and Abby Feely are the two that are leading that charge, but we think that'll be a great incentive to help foster the more equity in housing, especially in the urban core. So that's pretty much my update for now. I'm happy to answer any questions for anybody that might be thinking about things.
Thanks, Rob. And we'll wait for questions at the end. Our final contributor is Lynn Loki, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Visit Tampa Bay, a private organization with a mission to create vibrant economic development for our community by collaboratively envisioning visitation in Tampa Bay. Lynn brings more than 25 years of expertise in finance, human resources, and operations to Visit Tampa Bay. She oversees all facets of administration, accounting, tourism advocacy, board relations, human resources, IT, accounting, payroll, and the Visitors Center. After joining Visit Tampa Bay in 2005, Lynn established best practices for Visit Tampa Bay, as well as for the Tampa Bay Sports Commission, the Tampa Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation, and most recently, Film Tampa Bay. Thank you so much for being with us. What's up in Hillsborough?
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time and introduction. And I'll just give a brief overview about us and then get into some of the things we're doing to help us come out of this pandemic. Visit Tampa Bay is a private 501c6 organization, and we partner with 800 businesses around the community. Everything from Raymond James Stadium and Amalie Arena, all the major hotels, restaurateurs, et cetera, et cetera. We are funded in part by the Tourist Development Tax. And what's important to note here is that this is a tax that's not collected by our locals, but rather people that are coming to Hillsborough County and staying overnight in a hotel room. We generate and support efforts to bring business to the community, not only with their stay, but we want to push people out into the community to walk the Riverwalk, walk into our businesses, spend money at events, sporting events, restaurants, and even at the local 7-Eleven. Our mission, of course, is to create vibrant economic impact by bringing people to the destination. So the Tourist Development Tax, not to bore you, but it's used in several different factors. Primarily by Florida legislation, the Hillsborough County Tourist Tax is used to generate marketing efforts that attract everything from meetings and conventions, as large as the RNC, to small meetings of 10 or 20 people, to leisure travelers through air transportation, routing, and cruise line routing, to all leisure travelers across not only domestically, but we also work internationally. And then through sports and film, those organizations are loosely tied to us as well. So in addition to marketing the destination, the tax also goes to pay debt service at the Raymond James Stadium, Amalie Arena, Steinbrenner Field, and the Plant City Softball Stadium. And we also help with capital improvement at the Convention Center, where, as Rob stated, they're going through a big expansion, and I'm actually working out of there today because we just got done with the meeting with Skanska and some of the architects to give our input as the destination marketing organization. What are attendees? What are they looking for? So as a strategic partner in the community has become more of a focus with Visit Tampa Bay over the last several years. we partner with the chamber and Bob's group and his employees and his board, as well as the downtown partnership. And our focus is not only attracting outwardly outside the county to bring people in, but we're also taking more of a stand locally and working with everything from the facilities, the city, the county, our partners, to what's going to make our destination better, what's going to attract tourists to our destination is eventually going to make some of those tourists residents and bringing their businesses here. So instead of leaving transportation issues up to solely the chamber or the downtown partnership, we're standing in line with them to make our community better overall. So year over year growth with Hillsborough County hotel performance, this is the money that has been collected over the last 5 years. And you can see we over doubled our revenue from 2015 to 19. And that revenue was doubled without adding any more product. So we are elated right now with all the new hotel product. Several hotels which have, were able to open in time for a Super Bowl. But think about all the new hotels coming on board, the expansion of TCC and the Strata Center and the contiguous Riverwalk. We're going to be able to bring our numbers back up to 2019 levels. We feel like in a fairly quick, fairly quicker than our peers and our counterparts across the rest of the state and across overall the entire US, as you'll see here. So we are down 33% in the state of Florida, but our county is only down 28%. And the same with the US. We are a little bit ahead of the curve here in Hillsborough County, and we're proud of those efforts. And in February, those numbers, of course, with the Super Bowl continue to jump through the roof. So we have 2019 numbers, and of course, 2020 are going to be about half of everything that we're stating here today. And we'll have those results probably in the next 30 days or so. But in 2019, visitors that came into our community spent $4.2 billion on everything from their hotel room to their transportation to what they were eating, etc. And this has attributed to over 53,000 jobs that were sustained by tourism. So people in the hotels and the restaurants, pirating the water taxi, the people, the guides, the downtown partnership guides, and everybody in our community that touches tourism. So when a tourist comes to town, this is where we try to lead them. We know they're shopping, fine dining, and attractions. So we want to do our best efforts to ensure they know everything there is to do in the community, and that we provide them an ease of getting to these things so that they can continue to spend money. Not only are they spending money in our community with our businesses at the tune of billions, but they're also contributing to the state sales tax. So many of our small businesses may not be able to sustain year-round without the contribution of the tourists in our community. So it's been real important for us to be nimble and to, unlike many other destination marketing organizations here in Florida, because we're continuously in touch with our peers and across the nation, they have been stunted. And we're very fortunate that Hillsborough County went into the coffers and they took money out of the reserves to ensure that our budget was whole. And what this has led to is what you saw earlier, that we're ahead of Florida. and we're ahead of the rest of the country in driving tourism. So we're looking at a lower funnel. We're changing the way we market. We're looking at people who are ready to travel now, active adventurers, culture seekers, and people. Typically, we're marketing our destination and our brand, and travelers are making plans 6 months to a year ahead of time. So now we're using different types of platforms that are all digital, that are ensuring that people are ready to travel and that are booking Tampa. And we're very fortunate that we've been able to continue to market and keep our destination top of mind. So as I stated, you know, we're looking at a lower funnel, meaning people that are online today and they're booking. And we know exactly what our target audiences is and who is booking. And we look at this information every week. And every week or 2 weeks, we're shifting and we're pivoting where digital marketing is to ensure that we're getting the best ROI for our campaign money. Our creative overview, again, we've pivoted and shifted. So we're showing fresh air. We're showing opportunity for people to be out walking or biking on the Riverwalk, not showing big crowds, or we want to show that it is safe, clean, pristine, and this is, you know, where you need to be. So this is some of the new creative over the last year. Again, trying to be fresh air, open, fun, active things to do. So this is our 30-second spot, and let's see if it can play for us. So hopefully that played for y'all. It's a 30-second spot that we have on CTV channels, and it's unskippable. So people have to look at it. It's on Hulu, Amazon, etc. And again, as I stated, our campaigns, we're looking at where our top flight origins are coming from and what our top hotel origins are coming from. So this is where we primarily market digitally, and we focus heavily on those areas. And just from June to September, we had over 39.2 million impressions. And compared to our peers, again, around the country, it's far exceeding. The campaign data from October to January, we had $13 million in revenue to date. So this means people that click through our ads and booked a hotel directly generated $13 million in revenue. And this is just one particular digital campaign. This isn't overall or top of mind of what we're doing as a destination overall. These are particular campaigns out of these markets. So our leisure sales team, we've just expanded back internationally. So just like we've been focused domestically, waiting for this pent up demand and are going to jump on people as soon as they're ready to travel domestically, we just re-employed our international reps. So we have people in South America, United Kingdom, and Germany, and they're already starting to talk to tour operators. And as soon as we're ready to open up internationally, UK announced over the last week that they were going to open up, and there are reps have indicated that they've already have opened up and had hits on 120,000 different tour operators that are, you know, ready to go and ready to travel. And Tampa is one of the top Florida and Tampa are one of the top destinations. So again, convention recovery. So our, not only do we advertise, but we have a group of salespeople with boots on the ground that are specifically targeting groups to come into the convention center and use the meeting space not only there, but in the surrounding hotels in the downtown area and across the entire county. So we are actually have booked this coming March through the fall. March is some smaller groups, but some high-end groups and groups that have located from other destinations who aren't ready to reopen. So we've pivoted the entire way our organization operates. We're very fortunate that we were able to do so. And here is a quick video, clean meetings that we are presenting to those groups to get their destinations back in downtown.
Hello from sunny Tampa Bay. My name is Brittany Callahan, National Account Director at Visit Tampa Bay. I'm here at the Tampa Convention Center, located along our waterfront in the heart of downtown Tampa. A lot has changed in the world today, and so have meetings. Follow along and let us show you how we are preparing to host you safely and responsibly. Right off the bat, you'll notice thermal screenings taking place upon entering our facility. Additional hand sanitizing stations, signage, one-way footpaths, and alternative seating capacities are some of the other changes you'll see during your meeting. Don't forget to bring your facial coverings, wash your hands regularly, respect others' space, and most importantly, be patient as we work continuously to improve operations in this new era. The Tampa Convention Center has a dedicated touchpoint cleaning task force, and you'll see them throughout your meeting cleaning on an hourly schedule. They are here to help you, so please follow their direction when advised. You'll also see how food and beverage offerings have changed. Acrylic shields will be located at high traffic concessions, and you'll also see more packaged food options and single-use condiments and cutlery. Remember that we are all in this together, and safety is a team effort. For more information, how to host your meeting in this new time, visit our website or link below. There you'll find information on how hotels, partners, and our airport are preparing for your arrival. Tampa Bay is thrilled to welcome you back safely. Hello.
So again, I'm trying to rush through, but we're getting big groups back to Tampa is our focus. And these are some of the groups that are coming in 2021, Connect and Destinations International in March. And then the groups get bigger as we go into fall with American Legion National Convention coming in September. We have a visitor center in downtown and work closely with the downtown partnership to direct people that have come into the destination on where to go and what to do and what to see. And quickly, I want to give a few highlights. I know we're out of time just about on the Super Bowl. So just those 4 days over Super Bowl weekend, ADR went up to over $300 an average daily rate for our hotel rooms. And last year, the same 4 days, you can see it was hovering at about $150. And what's very important to note too, the year before, we were at pre-pandemic rates. So not only did the Super Bowl boost the community for that weekend, but you know it leads to higher room rates. So we're very excited about the activity that's happened over that 4 days. Occupancy was up over 90%. Again, the country is hovering at about 40-some%, and we're in the 50s. And that weekend we had it over 90%. So revenue generated. And this is at the media center that we had for the Super Bowl. And we had local people and local flair right out of the convention center. And we had thousands and thousands of interviews nationally and internationally. We were on a world stage, and Santiago and Rob Higgins of the host committee, they worked tireless in back-to-back interviews. So not only did we generate money for that weekend, but we were on a world stage. We generated more looks on our website and more interest in Tampa for future visitation and future spend. These are some of the activations along the Riverwalk that we did in conjunction with the NFL experience. And these are some of the images that, you know, will be lasting and used to market our destination. Our city, I don't think, looked more beautiful. As I rode the Riverwalk, or as I went on the water taxi like a tourist that weekend, it literally brought me to tears, because as somebody who has been marketing the destination for 15 years, to see our city look so good and show so well during a pandemic was just heart-touching. So again, I know I went over, and I thank you all for your time.
Hey, Jolene, thanks so much. I can't imagine how you felt. I hear you on that. And Tampa did look beautiful. We have a couple questions. I appreciate some of you answering these live. So if you were holding out for the answer, please look at the Q&A feature and then click answer. And you can look at the responses. But the two open I have, one from Gary Brown, probably for Rob. Rob, you're still on here. Are there any restaurants planned along the Riverwalk? The new expansion of the Riverwalk or the current expansion? Do you know of any new restaurants that may be popping up? Oh, Rob, you're on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes and no. Yes, a lot of them are on their way or here. So the ones that you know about on the Riverwalk that recently came was we did the Sail Plaza, which has, you know, we added Big Rays to that area. So there's the Sail Pavilion and then the Big Rays. Inside the convention center, we added a DATS that's inside there. That's another venue. We added another spot in there called Nourish, which is just inside, if you get a chance to do that. COVID's kept people out, obviously, but, and then we're seeing restaurants that are gonna be activated with the Ashley Tower, but they haven't announced which those are. And Karen can probably answer this one a little better than me, but, you know, I think Malio's had done a renovation, because I think it's right in your building. So
Remedy. Yeah.
Remedy was one that was recently added. You know, there's ambitions for the Straws to add some updated venues out there. One of them is in their master plan for adding another restaurant, unnamed and answer to who is going to manage that. I know that Eulaley's has been there for a while. They recently added Stone's Throw. And then just, you always have a good mix of different things that are happening over at Armature Works. So we have some really great venues. Obviously, we'd like to see some with the new build grant across the way. You know, Rick's on the River would be one anchor. We'd like to see a bunch more on the other side of the river as well. So we are starting to see that, and we are starting to see those activations happening. We are getting a lot of interest for people to want to have like a food truck venue near the Riverwalk to kind of capitalize on that. And we're working through that. So it does spur a lot of interest. And I think we're going to continue to see more development that is around the Riverwalk.
Cool. Thanks, Rob. This one is for Jolene. Is there any way to see conversion of people visiting here to people moving here, and what activities they were here for before moving? Is that something that your marketing team follows?
So yes, and there, I don't know what the exact statistics are, but there is a conversion rate of people who visit here first and then end up moving here or moving their businesses here. And people that, we do a lot of research and to determine not only where to market to, but, what our visitors are looking for and what happens when they're in the market. And we just partnered with Entrada, which is, the technology is amazing. During Super Bowl weekend, we could see people arriving at the airport, going down the Riverwalk and where they're traveling to and what they're doing. So it's amazing to be able to see that in real time on a grid with little dots of people knowing what they're doing and where they're going. But with that said, people typically come here for, a leisure travel comes for a variety of things. So they could be coming for a sporting event and to see a show, etc., or people that come for a convention. And it's typically in conjunction with 2 or 3 things together that they're coming here for. But we have all the, we even do research on a specific events, even smaller events, to say, okay, how many people were from out of town, how many in town, and what did they do when they were here. And we can also, with our new data, follow, okay, those people were here, now they're back in the market and they either bought a house or bought a business, etc. But we have a lot of data that indicates that on our website as well. I'm happy to share the information with you.
So Lynn, that was me. My husband came to Tampa on spring break, and that's how we ended up moving here.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you to our panelists. I'm going to throw it back to Terry. It looks like we have no other questions, so thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you to all our panel today. That was really interesting. We appreciate your time, insight, and work you do for the Tampa Bay community. Thank you. And please, for everyone else, please join us, the SMC Council, Sales and Marketing Council, on March 15th for a 2-part series with national keynote speaker and sales coach, John Palumbo. The first program is Becoming an Essential Closer, and the second program for sales management is Where Sales Managers Are Investing Their Time and Energy Now. These are both complimentary for members of the Sales and Marketing Council. Details can be found at the www.tvba.com. Thank you again, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks
Have
for
a great
having us.
afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.